Hello guys, thanks for joining this session. In this session, we are going to do lab with Amazon S3. So basically, in this session, we will look into all the things which we have discussed in our theory section. While doing the lab, we will also discuss some of the points to remember while working with S3. So let's jump into the AWS Management Console. So we are into AWS Management Console. To access the S3, you need to come to the storage section and click on S3. So here you will find the option, this button, to create a bucket. So let's click on create bucket, and here you will find these options. It is a wizard based screen where we need to provide first name and region, then configure option, then we need to provide the set permission, and it again at the last stage it will give us the review option. While creating a bucket, we must have to remember that it should be a start with lowercase and the name should be unique. And the name is not specific for the region, it is a global thing. Make sure that you will be providing a unique name so that AWS will create it. So let's try to give a name. For example, if you try to give a uppercase, then it will throw an error and it will tell that give a name into a lowercase. So another point to remember is that we are giving something like this, and let's try to create it first. So it is telling that this bucket is already exists. So you make sure that you will be providing a unique name. So let's give a unique name. So I have given the name to look like it is going to be a unique. And then afterwards, what we will do, we will select the region. So make sure that you will be selecting the nearest region. For my case, it is Asia Pacific Mumbai. Then in the next step, we are getting that copy settings from an existing bucket. So see here, you can copy the settings if you have any existing bucket and where you have set up some permissions, some rules, so that you want to replicate it to this bucket, you can use it. So here you can choose it, but in my case I don't have any existing bucket, so I will leave it blank and I will click on next. And the moment you finish the first one, you will get this blue tick mark. After that, here in the configure options, we need to provide the versioning. If we want to enable versioning on this bucket, then you need to click on this. So here comes another point to remember is if you enable the versioning, then you can't disable it. You only suspend the versioning, and to enable versioning, you need to check mark this. I will leave it as is. There is other option you are getting over here is server access logging. So server access logging is mainly related to the logging. If you enable this, then we will get the information about who is accessing our bucket, how many times he is accessing. So all these information will be captured in this logging. Now moving further, we have other option called tags. Tags is similar to what we have seen earlier, where we can provide the key value pair, and it is very useful when you want to track that which bucket is associated with which environment. For example, if you are associating this bucket with the development environment or some test environment or some production environment or any other purpose for which you are keeping this bucket, you can create the tag. AWS S3 also provide object level logging. So what it means? It means that suppose if you are uploading any files and you want to track that who has accessed that file and how many times it is being accessed, from which IP it is being accessed. So all these details will be captured with this object level logging. But for that you need to enable AWS Cloud Trail service, and that comes with additional cost. So here you have chosen the respective choice. In our case, I'm not going to choose anything. So let's move further and look into the another option that is called set permissions. So here you will get options to provide the access to the users or who belongs to other account. If you remember that we have discussed about ACLs in our theory section, where we discuss about why we use ACLs. So by default, block all public accesses. So this is being enabled. So that means if you try to access it from the browser, then it will throw the access denied error. So we will look into that first. So I am going to keep this default option. Here you are finding some other option called manage system permission. Suppose that if you want to provide access to any program which will write something within this bucket, then you need to enable it. So currently by default it is being disabled. That's the reason you are getting don't grant Amazon S3 log delivery group write up access to this bucket. Other option you will get that grant Amazon S3 log delivery group right access to this bucket. We are going to stick with the default permission and we are going to click on next. Now here we are getting an option to review. So you can review that at certain point of time. You want to change any of the thing, you can come directly and click on edit and you can edit that. Once you are happy with this thing, you come here and click on create bucket. So we have successfully created a bucket. Now we need to upload the object which is going to be a file which I have already mentioned about this. So let's click on this. So we are inside the bucket and you will find the option over here that you can upload an object. We can set the properties, object properties, and we can also set the object permissions. So let's upload a file. So to upload the file, you need to click on upload and select the file. Now our file is being uploaded. We will click on next. So we are into set permissions and let's look into the options. What are the options available over here? So you will find that manage users, who is the owner and what kind of access I am having, what kind of permission. So here I have read permission, I am the owner. So that's the reason I am having read and write both. And suppose if you want to provide access to other AWS account, then you need to use add account button, and once you click on it, then it will provide you the option to give the name which account you want to give the access to this particular file. So currently no need to provide access, so just clear it. Now here this is pretty much interesting that if you look into that, then you will find it is giving an option to manage the public permission, and currently it is showing the warning that you can't give because bucket level policy is blocking public access. So we can't give it. Now click on next. Here we will get an option to choose the storage class. You remember that we have discussed about a storage class, and here we are getting the options like a standard, intelligent tiering, standard IA infrequent access, one zone infrequent access, glacier deep archive. So we have variety of options you can choose. So choose the storage class as per your need. For my case, I am going to stick with the standard. That means we will use it pay per usage. That means it is a standard option and the availability zones it supports is greater than equal to 3. If you have any doubt about this, you can refer our theory section where we have discussed all these things in detail. Now moving further, let's look into other option. What are the other options given over here? So here we are getting the encryption option. So you can choose the AWS KMS master key or Amazon S3 master key, whichever you want. So you can choose any of the thing for encryption. Now moving further, there is something called metadata, which is set as a name value pair. Once you define it, you can't modify it. So that is the one of the restriction. So you can check the header. What are the headers we have? So you can choose any one, whichever it suits your need. Now moving further, and you need to specify the value as well. So now moving further, once you decided the storage class, encryption, metadata, then we need to click on next. So here we will get the option to review it. Once you are happy with everything, you just click on upload. Once you uploaded the file, then you will get the file over here. Now you can select it. Once it is being uploaded, just select this file. Then it will give an option about what are the things available. So here you will find that this file is being accessible with this location. Let's copy it. Try to access it. We are getting access denied. Why we are getting access denied? Because we have set that public access block. So to access this file, we need to unblock it. So let's do it. So to do that, you need to come here, select the permissions, and here you will get an option public access. You can provide access to particular user as well or any other account, but for a time being we are using everyone and we are going to give a read access. So it is giving us the warning that it is accessible to everyone. That is fine for this demo purpose, and click on save. So here you need to also provide the ACLs for that. So select any one of them. I have selected read. I haven't provided any write object permissions. Then we will click on save. Now we will move back and try to access this file. Just refresh it. No, we can't access it. Why? Because it is blocked at bucket level. So we need to go to the bucket level and we need to enable it. So to do that, let's come back and click on demo S3CP0303. That is our bucket name. And here you need to click on permissions. And then you need to click on edit. Here it is showing that block all public access. Click on edit, and here you need to deselect it and click on save. So it is telling that it is accessible by outside world, so that is fine. Confirm. Now go back to the file which we have uploaded, the object. Here select it and provide the permission again. Earlier it was not accepting. So here you need to select the everyone permission and click on read object, provide the read access, save. Now it is set yes. So let's go into the location and again try to access it. Just refresh it. So we are able to access the file. Now we have seen how to create a bucket, how to upload an object to a bucket, and if you are not giving a public access to the bucket level, irrespective of public access given to the object, that is not accepting because the public access is not set or say blocked at the bucket level, then you are not able to access the object. So it is giving us a point of conclusion that if you have an object and you want to access that object, then public permission should be allowed at the bucket level as well as the object level. Then only you are able to access the file over here. So now proceed further and click on S3M Management Console. So once it is being done, then select that what are the options which is being available. You will get the option, the file format, and you can use Amazon Ethan to analyze your bucket with a SQL query kind of a thing. So you can use Amazon Ethan services if you want to analyze. For our case, we have only one file, so there is no need. So here you can see the option of versioning control. Here we haven't enabled any kind of versions, so that's the reason we are getting one option. But if you have enabled the versioning, then you will find multiple option over here. Now moving further, let's look into the properties. Suppose you want to change any of the properties, then you need to come over here and select those property. You want to change a storage class, you come here, click on a storage class, then you will get the option to change that storage class for that particular object. If you want to enable encryption, you can do it from here. So all the properties like metadata, tags, object lock, all these things you can manage from this tab. Same kind of option you will get for the bucket level as well. You click over here and then you will find the properties option for bucket level. So where you can manage the versioning. If you want to enable versioning, you can come back. This will give an option while creating. On that time you have decided that you are not going to enable the versioning, but later point of time you have decided that I want to enable the versioning. Then you need to come here, select the bucket, on which bucket you want to enable, click on properties, and then you need to select the versioning. If we click over here, then it will give you the option. As I already mentioned that once it is enabled, it can be suspended, but you can't disable it. Cancel it. Then afterwards there is a permissions. You can change the permission as well. We have already used this one. You can set up the access control list. You can apply the bucket policies if you design any kind of a policies using policy language. Next we have CORS configuration, that is basically related with the cross origin resource sharing, which is a mechanism that uses additional HTTP headers to tell browser to give a web application running at one origin, and that is access to the selected resources from a different origin. So you can specify the headers over here. So now moving further, we have something called management. Within the management, you can get an option to create a life cycle. So to do that, you can come here and you need to specify the rules, what will happen, whichever object which is coming to this particular bucket, so it will associate it with this particular life cycle. You can specify that. So demo life cycle, and here you can specify any tags. So let's leave it. So how it is going to be transition, so the current version and the previous version, if you have enabled any versioning, you can choose it. So what will happen to the previous version, so just select any one of them. And if you want to do a transition, so click on add transition. What will happen, that suppose that if any of the version, if you enable that, the earlier version you want to store it into the Glacier, so first it will go to the standard infrequent access storage, and after 30 days you want that file should move to the Glacier, then you can come here and you can select it. Here it is giving us a warning, our file is very small, and if you are keeping it into Glacier, then it is huge cost for you. So that is the reason it is giving us the warning, but it is a demo purpose, so I am leaving it as is. I acknowledge, select it, click on next. Here you can set the expiration policy, what will happen after what time. So you can specify that after certain days of time this file get deleted and you don't want to store it. So you can set those expiration policy, and once it is being done, click on next and save. So this way you can create the life cycle rules. So we are going to delete it, select it, disable lifecycle rules, confirm. So it is gone. Here you can set up the replication policy. Then you have an option for analytics. You can check that what is the usage pattern and all. Then you will get an option for matrices. So basically these are the things which is related for management of this bucket. If you want to associate the thing for the management, as I already told that, okay, suppose that if any object is coming into this buckets, you can associate the lifecycle rule. After 30 days, it is going to sit in standard infrequent access storage class, and after 60 days, it is going to stay into the glacier. So all these things you can set up into the lifecycle rule, and that you can associate it. So we have already disabled it. But now we need to move further and go to the Amazon S3 and select the bucket and delete it. So just confirm it. You need to write the name so that it will delete that particular bucket. Confirm. So our S3 bucket has been deleted now. So this is what I wanted to demonstrate you in this session. See you in the next session. Till then, bye bye, take care.